Hi everyone, welcome back. So this time we're going to be learning about some other things we usually use when we have a list. The first is, how long is my list? Like, how many elements are in it? I say element a lot, that's a typical programming term. Just how many items, how many strings, numbers, other lists are inside of it. As a note, if you have a list and that list, never mind, no, I'm going to try that. You can have lists inside of a list, but that list in the list is considered one item. We'll get to those eventually. That's not for right now. Okay, so I have a cool list right here: refrigerator, freezer, and snowball. How many items do I have? Well, I count those items using the len function. It's going to figure out how many elements are in that list. So I can set this to equal to a variable if I want to. I can also just print it off directly, whatever I want. Now, why might you need this len function? So you see how I'm using it right here. Just put the list inside and it will count it. Well, it's because if I don't know how many items are in my list, and I want to grab everything besides the very last item, perhaps, I need to know. Now, I can use the -1. We talked about that before, but let's say that, for some reason I need to know the length. There are different reasons why you would want to know this. And so I would use this to do this. And let's say that I wanted to select all of those items or select the last item. Well, if I want to select the very last item, then I have to be very careful and make sure that I am choosing that very last item. But remember, if this gives you the number of items, so there's 5 items in your list, the last item is not number 5. It is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have to be careful about that. So if you're trying to grab the last item using this number it gives you, you're going to have to subtract 1 from it. So if I do this, I can grab the last item. I could also possibly, I'm going on a little bit of a limb here. Let's see. A cool list -1. Let's see what happens with this. Hey, it worked. Okay. So you can also just put in -1 to grab the last item. This is not really why you would want to use len. It's mostly when you're trying to save yourself some time. For example, maybe you have this long list of numbers and you need to make a new list based on those numbers. You can just start at the first one and keep on adding items to a list as you go down. But it's actually very slow in programming. So what you do instead is you make a new list that's the same length as your first, and then you just override it. And like, why is that different? For programming it is. There's some awesome computer science there. Just remember that if you need to count the number of elements in your list, then do this. Use len. It's also good for averages. If you want to take an average, if you want to build that function, you need to count how many items are in that. Instead of having to do it by hand, you can use len to do that for you. So there are lots of reasons why you would want to know this. Okay, so we just did this right here. I'm going to get rid of that little item there. Make sure I don't leave it. Okay, a hard lesson to learn. Okay, I'm sorry, I still have a bunch of these. Fix the following codes to print out the last item of each list. Okay, if I run this, anger. Ooh, it's list index out of range. That says that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 items in each of these lists. And I tried to grab the 4th element, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 doesn't exist. It's meant to be a little bit confusing in that regard. I'm purposely making a mistake. So we can remember, we can press -1 if we're going to be using that number from len. And -1. Okay, if I do this, it should run properly. And it does. D and 4. So remember, Python is base 0. It counts from 0 and then moves forward from there. Okay, we got more to learn. We got to learn about the in operator next time to check if something is inside of your list. But for now, we'll stop here. So I hope this helped you, and I'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.